Yeah, probably.
Okay. 6.1. Giving my computer just a second to figure his life out. Okay. So chapter 6 basically is all about inequalities. So we're going to solve inequalities, we're going to graph inequalities, there's compound inequalities, we're going to do all the things with an inequality. First, we should know what an inequality is. Oh, mathematics.
Like greater than, less than.
Okay. So the symbols. Greater than, less than, you could have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay. I always remember, like, in comparison, I always sometimes forget, like, what they're actually called. You just see the symbol. But the first one I can prop up, and it forms an L, so it's less than. If I propped up the other one, it's like a backwards L. So I know that has to be greater than, if that makes sense. Remember the names. Okay, but if you're graphing these on a number line, so with inequalities, we can have an infinite amount of solutions. So an equation, we only have one solution for that equation. Inequalities, we can have as many answers as possible, right? Because it's going to be like less than 2, so then it needs to be 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, so on and so forth. Okay? So we're going to graph and shade. And then when we do this, less than and greater than, if you see the symbol in your inequality, this is an open circle at that value. And less than or equal to and greater than or equal to is a shaded circle on that specific value. Right, so you'll get it down to like x less than 2. At 2, either you have a circle or a dot, depending on if it's equal to or not equal to. Okay. So first example, write a verbal phrase to describe the inequality, then graph the inequality. So how would you actually like read this out?
X is greater than.
Okay, so that's literally what you have to write down. X is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, that's what verbal phrase means. Verbal means words, so write in words. And it says graph the inequality. So here's 0, 1, 2. So at 2, is it going to be a dot or a circle? A dot because it's greater than or equal to. I always think, since it's equal to, I want to include that number. So it's shaded in. And am I shading left or right? Yeah, I want the numbers greater than 2, so those numbers are on the right side of 2 because those are larger. Okay. Problem number 1 down. Problem number 2. Do this one by yourself. Really quick. Write it down in words. And then graph it on the number line. Olivia, what did you say for a verbal phrase? Beautiful. Shelby, how did you graph it?
It's not shaded.
Okay. So circle at -1.
Yeah.
And then,
Not shaded. And then your line goes back.
okay, so then shading to left. I'm not going to write it down. Okay. So those are kind of intro we're going to solve inequalities now. So we're going to have extra things. We have 2 properties that we're going to do today, and then 2 properties we're going to do tomorrow. First property is the addition property. So we saw this when we were solving equations. If I have like a less than b, and it could be any inequality symbol, I'm just choosing less than, then I could add the same value to both sides, right? We're still trying to keep the inequality balanced even though it's not equal to, or add the same value. So that's the addition property. Subtraction property works the same way. So same thing, I can add a less than b, and it can be whatever inequality. I can subtract the same amount to both sides. As long as I keep it balanced, doing the same thing on both sides, then I'm good to go. So we're going to solve inequalities by adding or subtracting values to both sides. Okay. So we want to get x by itself. So I have x plus 8 greater than or equal to negative 1. What should I do first? What do you say? I mean, I don't need to write in words. It did say write a verbal phrase. How would I get x by itself? Minus 8. Right? So basically we're moving 8 over to the right side by subtracting it. So then this cancels, and I just have x. And 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So I solved it, x is by itself. And now we want to wrap it. So negative 7 is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. At negative 7, do we have a circle or a dot? A dot because it's equal to, so I want to include it. And then am I shading to the left side of negative 7 or the right side? Right, it says greater than, so I want larger values of negative 7. And those occur on the right side of the line. Super fun, right? Definitely. Okay. Here is the next. What should we do to both sides? I heard add 5 first. Okay. So same thing the right side. 5's cancel. I'm left with m. And on the left side, we have 8. So I could leave it like this. I'm kind of particular. I like my variable on the left side always. So if you want to flip this around, the inequality flips with it. So it changes to greater than 8. Okay. It's not an equation that you just write the same thing. Has to mirror itself. If you have large numbers for your number line, I expect to see 0. You don't need to make all the tick marks. You just be like, there it is. If you want to go by like 4s, you can. Number lines are not really that big. So circle or dot? Circle, because we don't want to include the value of 8. And then am I shading the right side or the left side? Left. Right. No, my value is larger than 8 because it's greater than, so to the right. Okay, so here is the trick for figuring out when to shade. You know the trick. Right. So if the variable's on the left side, the inequality is telling you what direction it's going. So I can draw like an arrow with this inequality. So it's telling me I'm shading to the right of 8. Nice, right? So instead of like thinking about it, you can just use the little trick there. Okay.
But then on the other one, like 8 is less than
Yeah. So that one doesn't work because the variable's not on the left side. The variable has to be on the left side for that arrow situation to work. Yep. That's the downfall because people forget that part. So this is the last one. So Ariel was sure that he didn't score less than 73 on his algebra test. Write an inequality to describe Ariel's possible score, then graph the inequality.
Less than or equal to.
Yeah, so is he confident that he scored less than 73 or greater than 73%?
Because he didn't score.
Yeah, we have like this double negative situation going on, right? Didn't score, so it's going to be the opposite. So he did score greater than 73. So yeah, greater than is this way. Is it greater than or greater than or equal to? Yeah, see, I was thinking it was equal to. So we cancel that. And then the score was 73. Okay, so there's my inequality. They say to graph it. So right, in this case, instead of take mark all the way up to 73, just do 0. 73 is on the right side, 0.
So we dot and shoot.
Right. Right. This isn't a true reflection of his percentage score because basically we're saying he could score greater than 100%, which probably unrealistic unless you get bonus, but even bonus you can't get to like 200%. There should be a stopping point, but we don't need a stopping point, so that's going to be good enough.
So we'll just graph it.
Yeah, just graph it all the way through and whatever. What was your question?
If we do the graph paper.
No.
If there's a line underneath
Okay, so I believe it's in Schoology.
How long did you get